Hey there YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more MC Eternal modpack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. Last time we set up some endergenic power. That has been working wonderfully. In fact, I'm sort of full up on power. So I've turned off my mob farm and turned off the endergenic stuff, or stopped feeding it ender pearls, I should say. If we take a look over here, I put one more of the third tier induction ones in there. So we went from like 51.2 up to 76.8 giga RF, and we have filled it up. The numbers on the induction or matrix, as read out by the screen, were a little funky, so I have just changed it to percentage, and the percentage is working right. So you can see we're at 100% power, and I also filled this bad boy back up for another 150 million. So we are good to go on power, and if we take a look at, well, so this guy actually is probably out of pearls because I didn't want to just keep it going for no good reason. Yes. So I've turned it off just by changing this to extract never active. And the power that we're burning here, this is 1400 power roughly, is basically just my ME system and my laser here that I've got running with 6 brown lasers to pull in lots of iron, because I've used up a ton of iron over making the induction matrix and gearing up for our nuclear reactor, so getting up some more iron. I'm probably getting to the point where I have enough iron now for a while. Now I sort of need some gold, but I have an idea for that we'll do in an episode or two. So I've been playing in the Betweenlands, a lot of off-camera stuff. Actually, let's run over to the mob farm. I made some changes over there. I'll show you those real quick too. I don't think I showed you these, but so over here we have, you can see here I've got 60,000 ender pearls, and what I did was I put in a powered spawner for endermen just to get up our rate and have more control over my endermen, and then also a powered spawner under that for wither skeletons. And I'm sort of used to, I've been playing since I got back into Minecraft. I've been playing expert packs like Enigmatica 2 Expert and Project Ozone 3 Kappa, and you tend to need lots and lots of nether stars. So I now have 13,300 wither skeleton heads, but I was looking through the uses of nether stars in this mod pack, and I'm probably never going to use more than a couple dozen nether stars, so that's a bit overkill, so I've turned that off. And 60,000 ender pearls. I'm making them far faster than I am burning through them with my endergenic power setup. So we are good there, so I've turned that off too. The problem with the powered spawners is that they were eating up 20k per tick. I was still able to max out my induction matrix though, because even though we were using like around 21,000 RF per tick, when the thing was running, we were peaking at around 79,000 RF per tick, with hesitations each time a pearl was lost, but we were probably averaging at least like 50,000 RF per tick, so that was all good stuff. As for Betweenlands, I've been running around a lot there. It wasn't actually too exciting. It was sort of generic. It was beautiful ambiance, very different look and feel and style to it. I actually really enjoyed it, but it felt actually pretty darn empty as I went through the beginning progression of let's make some wooden weapons and tools. Okay, now let's upgrade those to, the octine weapons and tools. Okay, now let's upgrade those to valenite weapons and tools. That all just seems sort of like very boring wood, stone, iron kind of flavor. I was picking up lots of stuff, I was getting lots of stuff, but I didn't really know what to do about it. And most of my concentration was just on figuring out how to make good food. And you have to make food that not only works in the Betweenlands, but also food that or carry sap balls that will refresh your decay and get decay off of you. But let's go over here and let's go do a dungeon. Or at least part one of a dungeon. It might take a couple parts. I actually just got through last night doing my first Sludgeon Tower, and I filmed a lot of it, but it took me a long time, and most of my commentary was a lot of WTF and various other rude language as I was surprised and getting frustrated. So there wasn't a lot of there was a lot of footage of me being confused and not knowing what I was doing, which may have been entertaining for those of you who want to see a guy suffer. But I figured it's a lot more informational if I take you guys through a second one, which I might as well do this time, having done it once, so that I have a better feel for what's going on. So what can I say about Betweenlands? The bottom line is the sap trees drop balls of sap, and it says this food is not nourishing enough to improve your health, but then under that it says heals decay. So that's the little brown balls that almost look like sap balls underneath here are my armor toughness. And those go down over time, and when they get down to 0, you start taking damage as if you are drowning or starving. And you might get a debuff too, I'm not sure. But you can mix these guys. Let's see. You can get yourself some sludge jello by taking sludge balls, and sludge are sort of left behind as a trail from these sludge monsters in the swamp. And you can make sludge jello, and then you can mix that with sap to make sap jello. And this stuff is not the best food, but it heals both decay and also gives you food. And then another good food is the got some more in here. There's a lot of other different types of foods. The seared snail flesh, there are little snails. Whenever you see sort of grassy spots, there are snails, and you can cook up their snail flesh, and that's good food. Better food is the bowls of Nettle Soup. You can see that gives you a lot of 5 hunger and a lot of saturation. And that is a mixture of the 2 different types of mushrooms, the Flathead mushrooms and I might have used up all the ones I have here, but the Blackhat mushrooms, I'll show you when we see some. And then also nettles, which will stick you, so you gotta hit them without running into them. And you might need to collect those with a Ceremerite shears. So you can see here I have a Valinite shovel, I have a Valinite axe, I've got Ceremerite shears, I've got a Valinite pickaxe, I'm carrying now an ancient greatsword. I've retired my Valinite sword, and before that I had a weedwood sword. I've also got a predator bow, which is an upgrade that I found in a dungeon. Both of these I found in a dungeon. That it's an upgrade for my weedwood bow. Both of them say good as new, and then under that well coated. So these types of weapons, you can see here it says moderately corroded, and then here you can see moderately corroded, slightly corroded. So what you can do is you can take your weapons and tools and mix them with, I don't have any here, but what is that stuff? Scabist, I believe is, I'm not sure how you would pronounce it, but this stuff. So you can do things like, here's how you coat weapons. So you can put a weapon in here and then 8 pieces of the Scabist and get the well-coated version, which doesn't corrupt, or at least doesn't corrupt as fast. Alright, I made a animator, but I haven't found any life crystals yet. I made a sulfur furnace, which acts just like a normal furnace, but it burns the sulfur that is easy to find here. That's sort of the gist of it. Let's get my glider out. And let's go find another dungeon. So as you can see, I took my builder and just made myself a porch, if you will. I'm not used to my new Predator bow. It arcs differently than my other bows. I should say that I, even with the weedwood stuff, I put looting 3, sharpness 5, unbreaking 3, and unbreaking 3, power 5, infinity on my weapons as soon as I made them, and unbreaking on my tools. So if you're doing this sort of later in the game, they are enchantable, and that does help quite a bit. And I should also say that this hasn't really been a very tough experience for me, mostly because my leveled 2 perks and my astral sorcery perks have made both of my melee damage and my projectile damage very stout. And also the electro blobs spells seem to work well here too. So the first thing we got to do, the world loads real slow for some reason. As I run into the Sludgeon Tower. Okay, so this is the one that I've done. Oops, and I don't know if I have all the supplies I need to actually do another one. But now that I've done this once and sort of have a clue what I'm doing, I thought we'd do another one of these. There is this one, and then there's another one there-ish, maybe. But I did not, I don't think, bring supplies. Yeah, let me pause here. I gotta go get some supplies necessary to light the braziers. So let me get right back to you. Okay, heading out again. So these guys here, the ones fighting with the glowing anglerfish, those guys are lurkers. They give you lurker flesh, which is what you use as leather in this world. So that's an important one, and there's a quest to get, I think, like 2 dozen of it, which is how much, of course, you would probably need to do the and there's a dude. Let's kill him real quick. Whoa. So this here's a swamp hag. As you can see, my perks are serving me well. The bow's not necessarily that great, it's just the perks that are doing so well. The mud here is absolutely the worst. It's like a one block deep quicksand pit, if you're used to the quicksand pits in Biomes of Plenty, I believe those are from. Let's give the world a bit of time to finish catching up here. Alright, that looks like probably a tower that way. Yeah, there's one. Alright, so one thing to note is that these sludges here, which are sort of like slimes with skulls on the inside of them, when players are nearby, they will leave trails. So if we watch this one, see how it's now leaving a brown trail wherever it hops? you can take a shovel, a Betweenlands shovel, like a Valinite shovel or whatever, and shovel that up, and that is the sludge that you can use to make the sludge part of this. So you get sludge balls from those trails that those sludges leave behind. You bake that into sludge jello, and then you can mix that with balls of sap, which come from the sap trees. In there you get a lot of them. You get a ton of them for cutting down a sap tree. Just keep in mind, as I've repeatedly failed to remember, that the that when you vein mine stuff here, if you don't have any good food yet for the Betweenlands, you'll get hungry fast and then not have stuff to eat. So that can be a bit of a pain in the butt. So these are big, let's take a look from out here. So these are the big Sludge Towers, and these are one of the dungeons and one of the, I think 4 or 5 big bosses of the Sludge Lands. And they've got like 3 winding staircases going up them, possibly 4. And in the center of them they have got this puzzle trap thing here. These green barriers keep you from running through the middle. And what we need to do is we need to light the braziers up top to create a beam of light that we can focus down through this lens maze. And in the end, we want to get the maze to... And we've got some vases that we can do. You can see there's multiple floors here. The stairs start to crumble as you go up them. So that's exciting. But yeah, so you create this whole puzzle here, and where you want to end up is, let's see if I can see it from up here in the rain. Eventually, after about 20 different lenses and rotating lenses to get the beam out, you will send the beam over to this little building out here. And you will open a door there and be able to get downstairs. So that's the whole goal of this. And you can sort of see how things are going to go just by seeing where stuff is. We want to hit that, which means we want to bounce something off of that, which means we want to get something to that, which means we need to get something to this, which means we have to get something to that, which means we need to get something to that, etc. So you can sort of get a feel for where we're headed with this. First of all, let's see if we can sleep and get rid of the rain. The rain does weird things like causes puddle effects everywhere, and at least it's not a lightning storm, because the lightning gets pretty crazed here. You can only sleep at night. Yep. Alrighty, well, onward. So what we need to do here is, when you're in the caves on this dimension, you will see things called cave moss. And you can collect those with shears made in the Betweenlands, like, for instance, Cearmorite shears. Cearmorite's pretty close to the surface, so it shouldn't be hard to find some of that ore. And then you smack it and get some cave moss. And what you do to light these braziers is you also get octine ingots, and it says right in the tool description, hot enough to set moss on fire. So you can actually take a ingot of this and hold right-click as if it was a bow and get it to shoot fire. Oh, there's the lightning. Hopefully we won't get any strikes on us. Now, one problem I had here, which it took me a bit to figure out, was you've got to drop some moss here, and then you've got to light it on fire with the octine ingot. And that was a real pain in the ass on these stairs, because I kept picking the moss up. Even when I successfully landed the moss there, I kept picking it up. So that was just a pain. So what I finally realized, I should just make an alternate strategy here. So I'm going to put my magnet away, And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a place to stand here where I can toss my moss in peace. And we're going to toss, and then we're going to right click hold. Oh, too far away. Alright, here we'll make it even. Or I wonder if it'll work in the rain. Alright, it is not working. It may not work in the rain. This place is pretty picky about its fire and its torches and whatnot. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to do something else for a bit, and we're going to see if this rain cleans up. Or we can try and do it. Oh hey, and it stopped raining? Yes. And this one doesn't have a puddle in it, so let's try it. So, oops, so toss in some moss. Hey, there it goes. We're in business. Almost like I've done this before. I'm going to wait for that puddle to clear up because I think that puddle was blocking us. Oops. Hey. Almost like I know what I'm doing. And then finally, let's do this bad boy. Now, when we get this fourth one lit, from the fire are going to be these salamander, fire, mage, shaman, wizard dudes. I was actually in too much of a panic when they first appeared to figure out what they were. I just killed them with extreme prejudice. But that's going to be something to watch for. These guys, Imberling Shamans. And they like somersault around and light you on fire. And they jump and flip like ninjas. So that's pretty exciting. And they drop some of this undying embers, which I don't know if it does anything other than burns. But there we go. We've lit the braziers. They stay lit, so that part is done. No longer have to worry about that whole situation. And we've shot a beam down into the ground. And now this little, see the little plus sign of glass inside the stone? That means that the beam is going down below us. And now there's 4 ways out for the 4 spiral staircases. And I do not have any kind of feel for which is the right way. But basically, I did find out that it's much easier to just fly down. And, hey, it looks like I've guessed right. So it's actually going down, and it's continuing down, which may or may not be what we want it to do. I think it probably is what we want it to do. So let's go ahead and, of course, you'll have to run if you don't, have some flight. So wherever the beam hits a wall as opposed to a lens, that's where we need to change things. So the fact that this goes down through here is actually not what we want. So we need to go back upstairs and flip that thing, so instead of going down, it goes to something more useful. So let's see. So not here. Here. So now we're just going to right click on this and switch the thing around, and we're going to be watching for, so now it's shooting back up. So you can see how here there's like a square of glass, whereas the side it actually shoots out of is more like a plus sign of glass. So now we're shooting off into space. That's not helpful. Off into space. That's not helpful. Shooting ourselves. It doesn't actually hurt you, but that's not helpful. And now we are shooting. We're shooting at the one behind it. And is that useful? I can't tell if it actually goes down and is useful. That might be the only place we have for it to go. No, I don't see a hole in the floor. That can't be right. Let's see, just double check here. Let's see. So up, out, 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 that direction. Okay, so now we have shot it to another lens, which is what we want, but now that lens isn't correct. So we need to basically get to the other side of this room to work on that lens. We can't click it through this green force field. So basically we just need to flip to the other side of the tower. We are on the west side, and we need to basically find our way over to the east side, second floor, which is going to be over here. If I could get through there before my squid ring runs out. No, I can't. Alright, let my squid ring recharge. And here we go. So now you can see we are on the other side of the green barrier, and now we can actually switch this guy, because right now it's sitting on the ground and that ain't helping us. So up ain't helping us. Boom. So now we're coming over here and down. Looks like we might also be able to shoot it there and down, but I usually go with whatever works first. So let's try that. So now we want to get to the north side of the tower, the next floor down. Right here. Oh, hello. And now it's going down again. Let's look around, and in the cardinal directions, there's one over there. That sludge is slowing me down. Down might be okay, but probably what we want to do is put it over to there. Oops. Alright, so now it's over there and down, so let's try that. Now we want to go to the east side, one floor down. There's mud everywhere. Alright, so now we want to shoot this guy over here. And then we want to try shooting it back up. See if that does anything useful. There may be a most efficient pattern for this that I'm not following. So now we're over there. We can shoot it to that other corner. So now we want to head to the west side of the tower. Sometimes the holes in the stairs actually end up helping you. Oops. Like here. Doink. Alright, so now let's try shooting it over to this way. Oops, no, we can't. We can shoot it up. Does that help us any? We can shoot it over and down. And then shoot it over there. Trying to think where we needed to get it. I should probably take the time, if I'm ever going to do more of these, to actually figure out what the pattern is, because I think there's probably an efficient way to do this. We want to get it out to here, which means we want to get it to there. Oh, hey. Hello. And hello to you. Let's see. So we want to get it there, which means we want to get it there, which means we want to... Sorry, I got mud. Which means we want to come down to there. Alright, well, you get the gist of this. Basically, I'm going to... this takes a while, so I'm going to pause here and skip to the end, but you can see basically what we want to do, and it might be a... It might be simpler to work backwards and figure out what you need to do. So basically we want to go there, 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 there. So we want to leave the tower here, which means we want to shoot down to that. So we want to come up here and we want to shoot down through this, which means we want to shoot at this. Oh, hey, I think we're onto something. Let me out. Can we shoot this outside now? Please, please, please. Yes. Nice. Shooting it doesn't help, although I can understand the urge. Alright, we're making real progress now. So now we want to boom, shoot it at this door. So there you go. I think there's multiple ways to solve this, and the key is just following it from the door back. So there, 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 and it's all about, well, the lenses disappear once you get this done, but it's all about getting to this outside tower piece. So once you start working back from there, There's probably a much faster and easier way to do it than how I just fumbled my way through it. But let's pause here. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I do have my, if you have some sort of Ender book or teleportation stuff, I use Osgo Glass. I'm going to go ahead and set a teleportation spot to there, which will now let me doink. If I have this in my hand, go doink and teleport here, and that way I can get back upstairs if I need to. So it's hard to see my bar, but I'm down to 4 out of 10 decay things, so I'm going to eat a little of this. This stuff, this good food, sap jello, which both gives you some food and also heals decay, puts you up 2. And you can eat it when you're not hungry to fix your decay. Sorry, it's probably way too dark here. Alright, so now we are venturing down into the labyrinthine vaults. Dun dun dun. And let me pause here before we go further and see how much time we have left. Okay, so we got some time left, so we can make it first through the first 3 or 4 floors of the labyrinthine tunnels. So the first thing to notice is that when you come down a stair on each level, there is this thing on the wall. It is not interactable in any way. It says the dungeon door code. And what we need to do is remember this, because when we get to the dungeon door at the end of this level, through the little maze here, we need to put this code in on... Hello. We need to put this code in to get the door to open. So the code's in 3 parts. So basically, right where my X is, there's a top part, and then there's a central part where the next X ends, and then a bottom part. And these flip on the door, so you have to remember... if you remember the top 2, or any 2 of them, you can just sort of flip through the third. But we got to at least remember the first 2. So I'm going to make a little note to myself that the top one is like 3 blocks, and the 2 outside blocks have ears going up in the middle. So for me, this is just how I remember it. It's like 1, 2, 3 blocks with ears on the inside out there. And then the middle one is basically, it's like, bars with C's going out. A bar in the middle with C's facing out. So this is a C, and that's a reverse C, and a bar in the middle. And I just have a little notepad next to my computer, and I just make a little note of it. And then the bottom one, you can just sort of flip through the bottom one and get it. So on this first level, we have little wormy things. Let me go ahead and put away some of my stuff. Let's see, we want to put away, we could probably put that away. I want to get this out, put that away, put that away. And we want to get all of these drops into our ender pouch to feed into our ME system. And okay, we are all set up and ready to roll. So I love the Electro Blob's Chain Lightning or Lightning Web or some other area effect Electro Blob spell here, because there's all sorts of little things in the walls with creepy crawlies that come out like that. So what I probably reacted a bit too fast for you to see, but the Chain Lightning not only destroyed the first worm that came out, but it also zapped the opening in the wall that was spawning it. If you don't do that, then like multiple worms will come out at you, and that's no fun. So again, we're going to just sort of go through here and look for these holes in the wall, and you can see it zapped both. I will not do that next time. And they can spawn behind you as well. So there's one ahead of us. If you just have a bow or something, you can also shoot that before any worms come out if you see it ahead of time. There's also alcoves with little treasures in them, which you can break. Sometimes those bugs come out, and those bugs can fly through the wall, so that's annoying. Now you see we didn't kill the thing that's behind here. So if we don't kill that, things can keep coming out of it. Usually when you stop paying attention to it. Or maybe I did kill it, I don't know. And I think those worms in the walls are the only real danger here. These are the two types of mushrooms. I need to get my magnet back out. This is one of the two types of mushrooms. I haven't seen the other type. Oh, there's one up ahead of us. So here's the Flathead and Blackhat mushrooms that make nettle soup if you have collected some nettles, which I recommend. You can light these by right-clicking on them, the wall sconce ones. So that's a little extra light. And there are chests here too, with all sorts of loots. You will need some sort of way to handle the loots, because there's lots of it, which is both good and also annoying. Alright, so that's pretty much the extent you've seen what there is to see with the first levels. Now I'm just going to bash through here real quick and look for the door. And I'm going to hold down my wand to zap any worms that come up. Oh, there you go. Oops. Worms. Let me get some light in here. And let me zap these guys. Alright. Is that all? That appears to be all. So now we're at the end here, and what we can see here is that each third of it rotates, as I mentioned at the beginning. So at the top we wanted to have basically 3 blocks across the top with the ears on the inside. So this has the ears on the outside, ears going up on the inside. Boom, like that. 3 dots, ears going up on the inside. However you want to do this. And this one is like reverse C, dot, proper C. Boom. And then the bottom one, I didn't bother remembering it, but if we cycle through them all, eventually the wall moves back and the floor opens up and you've got little ladders here, and we're down to the second level. Now on this level, I've already forgotten what the special tricks are here, but first thing to remember is we've got another door code to remember. So dungeon door code. This time we've got 3 dots, ears on the outside. And if you're making a series of notes here and you can't remember what it is, I usually write down the y equals. So this is y equals 114. That's how deep we are. And I got 3 dots ears on the outside, and then I've got sort of dots pointing out in the middle. So dots pointing out, 3 dots with ears on the outside, and the bottom I don't worry too much about because we'll just cycle through that. Now most of these blocks you can't break. You can see that sort of diamond colored thing is unbreakable, so you can't cheese your way through here, but the live roots can be moved, and in some cases that might be helpful. So, trying to remember what the bad news is on this level. Oh, these guys. And it's foggy, so that's sort of annoying. So these guys, I'll let one charge me. They are super fast and they leap at you, and they like leech onto you. And once they get a hold of you, they're a real pain in the butt. And it pulled me towards it, so I've lost track of where I was. Over here. This is where I came from. So it's sort of best to keep your head on a swivel and try and catch them before they catch you. Again, we got a bug in a jar, went into the wall, but I got a bug zapper on me, so that's cool. Oops. I keep forgetting that I can break the jars with my left click from my... and then you'll occasionally have little alcoves like this that have treasures or stuff in them. Oops. Alright, and now I'm just going to sort of bash my way through. There's the door we're looking for. Just make sure there's none of those critters on my tail. Like those guys. Get us some light. Alright, so here we had 3 dots, ears on the outside, so the top is right. We have in the middle, we had dots pointing out. So we want to go ahead and do boom, dots pointing out. And then the bottom, I don't care, so we're just going to sort of scroll through this. There it is. Alright, so this next floor down. I forget what comes after us on this floor. But, let's go. So there's guys. So those are like some sort of suction beasts. They like suck you towards them. These grates on the floor, if they have holes on them, it's a mud tile spike trap if you mouse over it, and they change sometimes. So right now, if you step on any of the ones with the open holes, you'll take damage. If you keep to the soft one, and you can see they're on the sides of the walls too. So there's an open one, and there's a closed one on the walls. And then again, there's an open one on the walls. And then those little things that we shot down there, like that guy, there's one down there too. Oh, and there's one there. They will actually suck you towards them and drag you through the spikes as they do it. So that's no fun. So now we're at Y108, and our top one is 3 dots, ears on the inside. Oh, some beast after us. Thought I heard something. Okay, 3 dots, ears on the inside, and then 3 dots. Alright, so I've made a note of that. And I don't think there's too much interesting here, so we're going to try and make a beeline towards an exit. So again, we can sort of try and avoid the spikes. Although here, I'm sorry, it's probably too dark to see, but you can see that we've got 1 there and 4 there. So we're going to get hit by spikes. That's just the way it goes. I haven't tried breaking these. No, you can't break them. Oh, that's the other thing. You've got these egg sac things too. Those are annoying as well. Chain lightning or lightning web or some other area. Oh, there, the guy sort of, it was probably hard to tell, but the guy tried to suck me towards him. Oh, and here I'm being hit by spikes. And there I'm getting attacked by worms. And now I'm getting sucked that direction. Try and get some light down. And I'm just sort of making a play for the door. Obviously, if you don't have good armor, low on health, etc., you can take that slower and avoid most of that. I just sort of waded through it in the interest of time. So we got 3 dots, ears on the inside up top. There we go. And then we got 3 dots. And then the bottom one is whatever it is. Oh, there it went. Oh, and it's hard to tell, but behind my armor toughness, my decay bar, which is like the little balls above my hunger, are all vibrating. I am out of decay, which means I am probably slowly taking damage. So we're going to eat some of this stuff to get everything back to healthy and head on down to the next one. Alright, so again we want to do this. So this one, I call this square overlapping square. So I've got square overlapping square on top. And then the middle are dots pointed out. And then the bottom will be whatever the bottom is. And let me try and remember what our what kind of fun we have going on in this one. I can't help myself from picking up at least a few of the treasures. Oh my goodness, I'm dragging around a bunch of stuff. Guess I'm not picking up much of anything, am I? So much loot. There we go. Oh god, these guys. I hate those guys. Oh, and there is the door. I'm not sure it's the only door. So on one of these, I've lost track of which floor we're on, but for one of these, there's an extra door which leads to a crypt, and the crypt is where you can find the ancient greatsword and the ancient armor, if you don't have really good armor already. But let's see what's behind this door. Let's see, so the top one, we got ears on the inside. Oh wait, we have 2 overlapping squares. There's my 2 overlapping squares. And then we got arrows pointing out. There we go. And then whatever the bottom was. Oh, hello. We got a Barashee. Well, it doesn't like lightning. Barashee lair. Cool. And so this might be our special thing for this dungeon. Yikes, look at all that stuff. Ooh, a Ring of Gathering. Grants the ability to summon Betweenlands minions or pets lost while wearing this ring at the cost of XP. Dead minions or pets need to be revived by animating the ring in an animator. I don't have any of those pets yet. Ooh, I did finally find a life crystal. That's good. What's this? Critter Cruncher. Nice. So I'm not sure if this is something... Ooh, what's that? Oop, I missed it. Looked like there might have been some kind of key in there too. Let's pick this up. Ancient Battle Axe. Nice. So that's sort of like my ancient sword, except actually it seems to do... it's a little more damage. I think this defaults to like 8, but it's 1.5 speed, and this is 9 with a 1 speed. I'll probably stick with the sword because I like to spam my weapons. Oh, these are the, this one has the turrets in them. Alright, so we got a thing. When you get down to, what are we on, the 3rd or 4th level, do keep in mind that sometimes the doors will lead you to little special things, like the Crypt or the Barashee lair. So we got that to think about. If it's the real door at the end of the dungeon, then it'll do that thing where it slides back and sends you downward. Let's go ahead and put all that stuff in there. Now these little whirling things, when the yellow light is towards you, you can shoot them. And that's basically how you get rid of them. But they're little turrets, and when you're close enough to them, you take damage from them. So again, we can't shoot it when those black things are doing it, and I'll show you if we get close to it, it starts to damage you. So you sort of got to stand back and wait for the light and shoot it. Doink. And a bug went through the floor. There, I zapped it. Just want to look around and see if there are other doors here. Oh, but here's a chest. With lots and lots of loots. Now, a good share of this is food. There's like marshmallows that are minor foods. So you might be, if you don't have enough food when you come here, the sulfur can be used if you bring sticks. You can mix the sulfur and sticks to get torches. And I am out of decay again. The balls of sap, you'll pick up some of those along the way. So you might be able to... I'm not hungry, so I'm just going to use the sap. Well, raw sap only does one at a time, so I might as well use my food. I got plenty of it. Alright. Sap. Oh, hello. I know I'm probably missing some pots, but I don't necessarily need too much more of this junk. I'm mostly just picking it up out of habit. Now I think I do need item scrolls. Ooh, what's this? Swift pick. And another predator bow. That's the one I've already got. It's an upgrade for the weedwood bow. Get swifty. I think for now I'm just going to go ahead and stick with what I got. Ooh, another life crystal. Good, I need those. I have a feeling I'm going to go way over time on this video, so let's see if we can pick this up a pace. There's another door. Is this the final door? I think this is the final door. This is one that will retreat into a wall probably and give us the thing. I don't know, on this fourth floor, I don't know if there's always just one thing, like an entrance to the crypt or an entrance to the Bereshy lair, and so you have to go through multiple towers to get the multiple things. The last one there was an entrance to the crypts, which was like a long winding, sort of behind the walls, a long mudden path crawling around behind the walls to get down to a crypt that had the ancient stuff in it. I've forgotten what we're doing here, which is bad. This may be the last one. Oh, nope, it is. Okay. Good, good. So when you do light it up a bit, you can see things. So if I wanted to check to see if there was an ancient crypt, one in here, it would probably be back along that wall. Which floor are we on? Or it may be on this floor. I don't know. Let's just keep going. Alright, so now this one we've got what I think of as a crown. So basically 3 prongs going up, and then arrows going out. And this is y equals 96, so I don't lose track of which door that is. Oops. And I just stowed my wand in here. So these are some sort of weird shelving system that have stuff on them. So we're going to pull the things out of there. Did we get everything? Yes. Is this the one where the things fall on you? What's doing that? Oh, it's the living root. I think that's a living root, is what that's called. Ooh, another one of those. I think those are supposed to be, I think those might be interesting. I keep seeing them in JEI, but don't know what they're really for. Oh, and those things. So those pink mushrooms will blow up and make a little cloud of stuff that makes you, I think it gives you some sort of foggy blindness and some other stuff. Anyway, they're annoying. And those key things will keep respawning. As will those pink things. Occasionally bricks will break underneath you and just sort of drop you in a little hole. Not a big concern unless you're trying to run away from a monster, in which case it's horribly annoying. Oh, and these things. So the ones that have little green things there, they will make that flower come up, and then it does some damage to you or something. Am I dragging stuff around? I probably need to put stuff away. No, I'm doing fine. Although it scrambled my stuff. I hate it when it does that. Oh, what? Go away. I have to say this is a pretty darn cool dungeon. My initial impression of this place was that it was beautiful and moody and interesting, but seemed underdone. And I think they only added this in November of 2019, so it's still a relatively new dungeon. But it sort of goes to show that now that they've got the stage set, the mod developers have the stage set with a cool moody mod pack, that they're coming out with some really cool stuff to put in it. This is pretty darn cool. What? Stop with that noise. Alright, so here we are, and we are sort of the crown, 3 prongs up, possibly that one. And then here we want the arrows out, that one. And then the bottom was something else. There it was. And down we go. And I better pause here and see how far along we are, because for all I know we're at the 2-hour mark or something stupid and hideous. So I will pause here and be right back. Okay, we're a little over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and keep going till see if we can make it to the boss. If we don't have a crypt to do, if the Bearshi lair was our special thing in this run, then we may be able to squeeze the rest of at least the labyrinth out of the way. Actually, I think this is the floor that leads to the crypt, so we might still be able to do the crypt. It might not be an either or, and it's possible that the Bearshi lair is in all of these, and I just missed it on my first one. So also, you can hear something, since this is a decay place, sometimes the capstones of these arches will drop on you and do damage. So again, if you're doing this lightly armored or no armor, then you're going to have to worry about that a lot more than I am worrying about it. Put some stuff away. I still haven't figured out what a good share of that stuff does. If you are using electroblobs, it is worth bringing either some potions. So there's 2 ways to go about it. You can either bring an arcane workbench with you and just recharge it on the go, which is actually a little simpler than making the potions. But I did go ahead and, it's one of these. Darn it. But I did go ahead and make some potions to recharge my wand, because I find that chain lightning or some other area effect spell, especially if you don't have to aim the area of effect, like the chain lightning just jumps from critter to critter. You don't even have to aim that very, very well. So let's pull all of these out, and then let's take my wand up here. And now we're just putting some mana back into my wand. We'll put that away. And off we go. Ah. I do want to sort of look around on this floor and see if there's things are falling on me. Just to see if there is a door to the crypt area. So it looks like we've done, if there is, I bet you all these dots are the crypt area. So we do want to take a look. We basically want to head northish and see if we can fall in a hole. Zap. Zap. Yes, there is. So this is gonna go away. So these guys with the shields, the guys with the blue shields are sort of annoying. Especially if they have blue shields and orange swords. The orange swords light you on fire because they're octine, that metal that we use to gosh darn falling arches. That metal that we used to light the bracers at the top of the tower. So I'm going to take a look at both of these doors and figure out which ones I want to go to. I really need to get the wand upgrades that makes the these shoot faster. What? Oh. Chain lightning also works well at cleaning up infestations of maggots and or silverfish. Alright, so that corner looks like the traditional door down. Because you can see it will pull into the wall and reveal the floor here. Yeah. Oh, I think that's what those flowers do, is they pull stuff out of your hands. It's a good thing I have my magnet on. So what this one is, I think, is the way down to the crypt. Where are we? We are here. So when we go through this, there's probably 3 of those sludgy guys there. So let's go ahead and open this, and then this will be the stopping point of part 1. So the top one was 3 dots, ears up and out. We got it. Oh, and my decay is, my decay is all effed up. As is my health. Alright, and the middle was a solid bar. Come on. And then the bottom was something else. And now when this goes through, I'm probably going to be rushed by some of those guys. Yep. And these also apparently have, these guys also have a pretty bad knockback, I think. My armor sort of protects me from the knockback so much. But that's something to keep in mind. Alright, so this door now leads us into the winding walkways, which is a complete mind messer, to be polite. But we're going to go ahead and stop here for now. I'm going to go ahead and take my sign and have a new teleport spot for here. Right about there sounds good. I'm going to run over here and check it. Doink. Yep. And I will show you how to get through the winding walkways down to the crypt to get things like the ancient greatsword and the ancient armor. And that will be how we start part 2. And we'll do that, and then we'll go down and do the boss fight. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.